Welcome to Rick's Corner. Today I have a very famous bodybuilder from what I call the Silver Era of Bodybuilding, which came before the Golden Era. I'm talking about the 50s and 60s. You all know him. You've all asked for him. Reg Lewis, who has been a really good friend. We did Sextet together. He has a history to talk about, and we're going to talk about it. So here he is, Reg.
Thanks, Rick.
And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have you here. Now listen, let's talk. Let's go back in time.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back in time when you first started working out. How old were you?
I was 15 years old.
And what gave you the desire to want to pick up those weights and train?
I wanted to be the best baseball player that I could possibly be. I was a Pacific Coast champion.
Wow.
As far as pitching is concerned,
Yeah.
and I was ready to go to the bigger leagues, and I needed a little more weight and size, and I figured this was the only way to get it. I had no interest in bodybuilding at all. My interest was to be a ball player.
I'll be darned. I never knew that. I had no idea. All right, so you started working out, and you started seeing your body develop, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
And then did you get inspired at that point?
And I got inspired, and the guy says to me, "Hey, they're holding a Young Mr. Oakland contest." And how old are you? I said, "I'm 16. He says, "Try to get in it." So I got on the contest, and I won.
Just like that. You had a really good build then.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Let's see. I started training in '53. It was '54. Beginning of '54.
Did you know a lot about the methods of training and diet at that time? Was it any big deal, or you just did what you did?
I went through all the magazines and looked whatever I could figure out that I could do the best with.
Right.
And what appealed to me is the set system, and how much sets I could do, and the idea was to also get as much size with as much definition as possible. That was seemed to be the criteria, so I went for that.
And who at that time was your inspiration?
It always was Steve Reeves.
Yeah, I can say that. That's for sure. Steve Reeves. I think Steve was everybody's inspiration. Then at some point you must have met him.
Yes, of course. I met him at Yarrick's gym. He was just going out the door, and then Eddie Yarrick says, "Here, I want you to meet Steve Reeves." And he shakes my hand, and he just runs out the door, and he turns around. He says, "He told me about you." Who? He says, "Ed." "Oh, okay." And Ed says, "Yeah, Reg, they're having a big thing up in Las Vegas. They're looking for bodybuilders for the Mae West show, and you fit the description." He says, "Go, kid." Reeves says to me, and he says, "Okay, I'll be going." So I was going to go there, and I was attending college at the time, San Jose State, and I skipped a grade, so I was in senior year. I was 16 years old. But anyway, the whole point of it, we got in a big automobile wreck. A guy named Jimmy Augustine, a well-known weightlifter at the time. And my mother says, "Well, see, you got to go back to college. You got in a wreck in the car." And I says, "Mom, where in the heck is a kid like me at 18 going to make $250 a week?" And it was 1954.
Yeah, of course. That's a lot of money then, yeah.
And I says, "My God, I got to go. I got to try." So I finally took a Constellation out of San Francisco Airport. My mother and father drove me there. They wished me the best of luck. I took a couple of shirts, a couple of pants, and so forth, and a paper bag, as a matter of fact. I didn't even go to the whole extreme. And George Eiferman, who basically introduced me to bodybuilding, who was the guy that came to my high school. And so naturally, when I saw him, I says, "Oh my God, so you're running the whole show here?" He says, "Yeah, kid, you got a good chance." Whew. I said, "Wow, thanks." And I just wished I wanted to be on that show so badly.
Right.
The beautiful songs they sang there and everything. I looked at it and I said, "My God, I didn't believe such a glamour actually existed. I'm just a punk kid, a country boy. What did I know, you know?" And all of a sudden, they tell me that you're going into Mae West dressing room right now. So I walk in there, and she goes, "Let's see what you look like." So I take off my shirt and take off my pants down. And I said, "Let's see what you all look like." I don't have any other trunks, Miss West. So George says, "I'll make you feel comfortable." He puts a towel over the top of my pants, my BVDs, and I start posing for her. And she goes, "Oh, you look really terrific. How old are you?" I said, "Miss West, I'm 18. He goes, "You're terrific." I said, "Am I?" She goes, "Yes, you are." "Thank you very much." Anyway.
And you were in.
The next thing I know, Eiferman says, "You made it, kid." I said, "I did?" Because all the guys there. Ed Fury was there. A lot of people were there to make the show. And I thought for sure they were going to get ahead of me. But I made it. And I was making two and a half a week. Started at the Sahara.
Yeah.
I went from the Sahara to Miami, Florida at the Copa. Went from there to the Shaperia in Chicago. And it just kept going. I mean, I grew up overnight, so to speak.
How many years were you with her?
Well, a whole year with the whole show, and then again part of the next year up after that. And then basically on and off in different little television things or whatever she was doing.
Whatever she did, you went along with, Who were the other bodybuilders with you?
Armin Tanny, Lou Degny, who at that time he was Lou Degny anyway. He's Mark Forrest now.
Right.
And then there was Zabel Kazuski. Right. And then there was Joe Gold, or Old Mold as we called him. And then there was George Eiferman and Chuck Krauser. Yeah. And that was the whole lineup of guys.
That's the guys, yeah. I know every one of them.
And Richard Dubois, of course, was the lead.
Yeah.
He was the current Mr. America, 54. And what a nice, but man, he and I became very close friends in the very beginning.
Is he still around?
No, he joined Barnum and Bailey.
Oh, he did?
Circus in the Sky.
Circus in the Sky. You know, I think I knew that. Your training then, I know when I met you, we had done Sextet.
Yeah.
And that was with Mae West again.
That's correct.
And we had a different group of guys on, and we were supposed to work on that show, I think, like 3 or 4 days, and we ended up a month on it.
That's true.
Because she never showed up. So we made like really good money. But I remember then you were telling me you were working out, not at a gym, but in your apartment.
That's right.
And you made terrific gains. I mean, you were in awesome shape.
Thank you very much.
Did you have everything in that apartment that you needed?
I had 4-way pulleys, a bench press machine, a squat machine, a lat machine. I had just about everything. I even had a climber, a trampoline, and I had free weights and benches. I had everything a guy would need, and I didn't want to go to the gym because some guys would get in the way of my sets, and I was a very fast trainer.
Yeah.
I learned to train fast. How? I went to Jack LaLanne's place on 17th and Franklin, and he showed me a few things I didn't believe. First, I was doing the very slow set system. Then he showed me how to split things up a little bit, and Jack LaLanne says, you know, you don't have to train that long. Just train harder. Yeah. And that's what I was doing.
Yeah. You know what? I tried that. You know, as you get older, you can't put the time in like you used to. Your body can't take it. I go in for 45 minutes, and that's enough.
That's all you need. Yeah.
I can't do more than that. I'm beat.
I can get 15 sets in for everything in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you split it up.
You split it up.
The tri-sets was my invention. Weider put it on his schedule, but I was the guy who invented tri-sets.
How did you use that, for example?
Well, for instance, you have 3 sections here. You have your deltoids, you have your triceps, and your bicep.
Okay.
So you go from one to the other. Bicep, tricep, deltoid. Bicep, tricep, deltoid. Back and forth. Yeah. Until you knock out 15 sets of it, then you're all pumped up. And maybe it would be 5 of one kind of exercise, 5 of another kind of exercise. Right. All split into 5s, but 15 sets. Right. And you're working those 3 sections. And then I would go to pectorals, upper, lower, lat. Upper, lower, then lat. And that's what I would do. Upper pectoral, lower pectoral, then lat.
All right, for example, like an incline press, a decline, and maybe a lat pull.
Yeah, a lat pull. Okay. Or a pull back, one or the other.
That's interesting. I never thought of that. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. I like that idea. So when you did the delt exercise, basically, so you did a bicep, so you did a curl, your tricep pushed in, and maybe a lateral for delt. But did that work all the heads of the delt? No.
Well, one of the things about Steve Reeves, he showed me the twisting press, which is here. Yeah. And you turn it up like this, and you go up this way over the top. Right. So I did that. That was my primary number 1.
So that works front to back.
Yeah, front and back both. Then I did front lateral this way and back lateral that way. That was usually what I did on the triceps. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I like that. I am going to try that because
cuts down on your time.
Cuts down on your time.
Puts your pump in a good position.
The thing, and I've asked, the Borco was on here and we talked about it. As you get older, it's really hard to maintain a pump.
That's true. Yeah, blood isn't the same as it was when you were 18.
It's not, is it? The circulation isn't the same.
No, I mean, you have to really hit. That's why you have to go faster and harder. Yeah. And you hate to because you're older.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to kind of force yourself to do that. Otherwise, if you don't do a little forcing, you'll never get there.
I know. And the hormones are different.
Of course. And people are going to grow old faster if they're not careful.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And that's it.
How was your diet back in those days, say in the 60s? It wasn't that sophisticated as now.
Well, no. I mean, I was a vegetarian for 7 years because of Muscle House by the Sea. Remember Muscle House by the Sea?
Yes, we did a tour. Yes, we did a tour on that down there.
Okay, there you go. And I learned about vegetarianism and about the alkaline and acid differences, and I think that was my beginning into ideals of diet. However, as I got along, I worked along with I can't think of his name, Dr. Bragg, his name is? Yeah, Bragg and Bragg's daughter. And Bragg said, always eat your protein first. So I started doing that. I noticed, oh, my pump was better. My protein and then my vitamins and minerals and fruits were afterward. And I found that worked the best. Always protein first.
That's funny because I've been doing that for years. And the only thing is I know that my body is going to take the protein before anything else.
That's right.
If I eat something before that, the protein is going to suffer.
It's going to suffer.
You take your carbs, your body absorbs the carbs, and then the protein may be used, and the rest is just let out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I thought about that for years, and I thought, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but it sure works.
Yeah.
And your protein was what? Meat and fish and chicken and eggs?
All of those, yeah. Most of them without the skin. Naturally,
Yeah.
if there's any skin on it, you can get rid of that because the fat's underneath.
Oh, you don't eat the skin on the meat?
No.
That would be cowhide. What about milk?
I never ate many dairy products at all. I learned basically that dairy products were the enemy of definition. So.
Okay.
And as you go along in bodybuilding, you're not a drug bodybuilder. You're a natural bodybuilder. When I first started training, I started to hear about the drug things, and that kind of upset me because I knew the guys were using it. Because I got in the '63 America, Freddie Ortiz and different guys were already on the drugs.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. And I said to myself, well, I got to train twice as hard.
Yeah.
I won the contest. Obviously, I beat the guys like Hugo Labra and
I remember Hugo
and Freddie Ortiz because my training was, I think, was superior. Even though they were on drugs, I was able to beat them.
That's
and
amazing.
beat them well, you know.
I remember very well. Freddie had huge arms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is he still around today?
I don't know. A lot of the guys that were on drugs, you know what happened to them. Either they got real small, like Franco Colombo, or like Don Howarth, and they changed. Otherwise, they were so drug dependent that the body didn't take them.
Yeah.
But they were talked into it. A lot of them, when I first heard about some kind of a new protein, I didn't know it was a drug.